behalf of the members of the Legislative Assembly and welcoming you to the Alberta Legislative Building. Isn't it wonderful when you hear that echo of old Canada in this place? It has a particular resonance that I wish more people in our province might be able to hear. This legislative building, your legislative building, my hope is that this legislature becomes an inclusive place, a meeting place for all. I and my peers have much to learn. Like other holy days observed in Islam, the Great Feast brings together the entire community. Good tidings and gifts are given not only among family and friends, but also with the less fortunate in our society. Generosity and sacrifice has always been an important aspect of the Eid-Al-Adha and the Islamic way of life. I understand that absent from tonight's celebration due to illness is a beloved pillar of Edmonton's Muslim community, Sarah Hafez, and I do hope I pronounced her name correctly. She serves as the president of the Edmonton chapter of the Canadian Council of Muslim Women and is credited with developing the Arabic-English program for Edmonton Public Schools. Ms. Hafez has been a tireless volunteer and has been instrumental in coordinating this very event year after year. She is missed tonight and we pray for her health. This year, Eid was observed around the world by over 1.6 million people of the Muslim faith. I need more people like you in the legislature. 1.6 billion people, thank you my friend, of the Muslim faith, including over 8 million in North America and approximately 150,000 of our fellow Albertans who practice Islam. And this evening's gathering underscores the importance of continuing to nurture the long-standing relationships between the Muslim community and this legislature. So in the spirit of community, friendship, I wish to all of you a belated but sincere Eid Mubarak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and good evening to everyone. Colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Government of Alberta, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the Alberta Legislature here in the traditional territory of Treaty 6 in the heart of Edmonton. And it is a tremendous pleasure to take part in the celebration of Eid-Al-Adha. I understand the celebration comes about 1 month after the official 2015 observance of Eid-Al-Adha. The reason for this belated observance is to allow us, the members of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta, to participate in this annual celebration by our Muslim community. So I know that I speak for all of my legislature colleagues when I say that we are very honored to take part, and we appreciate the courtesy you've extended to us this evening with this special celebration. Eid-Al-Adha is the feast of sacrifice. Sacrifice is a word that we hear often these days. In the modern sense, it's usually expressed as a negative thing. It's about giving things up. We politicians, for example, often talk about sacrificing our family life for public service. But we should remember that in the original sense, sacrifice was about obligation. In the traditional practice of animal sacrifice, for example, there was an associated obligation to share the animal equally with family, with friends, and with those who were in need. In the modern sense, we should realize that when we sacrifice one aspect of our lives to another, we are doing it to make sure we meet our obligations to our families, to our communities, and to those outside of our circle, including the disadvantaged, the marginalized, and those who are discriminated against. Sacrifice is a way of declaring that we are individuals and at the same time we are members of a much larger family. Our Alberta family is one of many faiths and many means of observance, many special days of joy and celebration. Yet we are united by the freedom we enjoy to worship in our own way in great diversity. In safeguarding this freedom and cherishing our common values, we are sharing the promise of an even better Alberta for one and for all. So thank you again so much to all of you for being here with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assalamu alaikum, belated Eid Mubarak, and good evening to everyone. Honourable Premier, Leader of the Opposition, fellow colleagues, distinguished guests, it's my pleasure and honour to address you on this special occasion tonight. I would like to first say thanks to Christina Gray, MLA from Millwoods, Edmonton Millwoods, for co-sponsoring this event and helping to make it possible. Eid-Al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice, is a 3-day global festival celebrated by Muslims throughout the world at the end of the Hajj prayer. And Hajj prayer being one of the 5 constituent prayers and pillars of Islam. The Hajj and celebration of Eid-Al-Adha is not only an opportunity for one to commemorate and remember Prophet Abraham and Ishmael's sacrifices, but is also an avenue to show sincerity and humility in one's relationship with the God, and recall a sense of connection with the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, thus resulting in spiritual transformation, one that will make him or her a better person. More than 150,000 Albertans celebrate Eid-Al-Adha, including many gathered here tonight. But there is much more for our entire community to take away from this event. A helping hand to me, Eid-Al-Adha is really about generosity, kindness, and community, and about respecting and supporting each other. The symbolic sacrifice made on this event shows our willingness to give up some of our own bounties in order to strengthen our communities and in order to strengthen our ties within our communities, and to help those who are in need. As Minister of Human Services, I know very well the struggles many Albertans face in their day-to-day lives. It is important that we recognize the needs of others and recognize the impact that just a bit of goodwill can have on others. A helping hand can come in many forms. It could be a donation of food, something that I know is a significant part of Eid-Al-Adha. It can be as simple as taking the time to listen to someone's struggles or offering them a shoulder to cry on. Albertans support each other during tough times, and I am so very proud to live in a province with such a supportive and welcoming community. By working together, we foster a society that is vibrant and alive with culture and friendship. Seeing all of you gather here tonight only reinforces this in my mind. We know people from all walks of life, from across Canada and the world, continue to come to our province. It is the diversity in our communities, as witnessed in our many forms of celebrations, that makes this province a great place to live, work, and raise families. The cultural mosaic that exists in Alberta and Canada as a whole relies heavily on us taking the time to talk to each other and to share important events such as Eid-Al-Adha. Hopefully, by continuing to hold these types of events at the Alberta Legislature, we will create awareness of different cultures and foster an environment of respect, acceptance, and inclusion. With that, I'm so glad all of you came out tonight, and I want to thank you for your presence here tonight. Eid Mubarak once more. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. God is great. In September, as the Muslim faithful all over the world marked their festival of sacrifice, one of the most important holidays in Islam, many of us were privileged to join the community celebrations right here at home in Alberta. And what could speak more to sacrifice than what Abraham did on the mountain, or was willing to do? This is the day and the time where we must remember that we all must sacrifice to our God, and sometimes He demands great, and sometimes He gives great. The Muslim community has been part of Alberta's cultural dynamic for many years. I had the honor for 10 years of having one of the oldest worship areas for Muslims in Alberta, in Lac La Biche and in North America, and I was very proud of that. As many of you know, Muslims arrived in Canada in 1871, and by 1938, at a time where there were only 700 Muslims in the country, Edmonton became home to the first mosque, the Al-Rashid Mosque. Very proud of that to have happened here in Edmonton in Alberta. It is now, of course, located and preserved as a historical building in Edmonton Park. Today, as was mentioned, the number of Muslims in Alberta has soared to 150,000 people. That's amazing. I was personally touched by the words of the minister earlier, and of course the Premier, to have such an incredible mosaic and cross-section of all the cultures, all the great cultures in the world here in Alberta, and to be able to celebrate in an incredibly beautiful place like this is nothing short of an example of what we can all do for the rest of the world. By coming together as a community, as we have tonight, we show our children the importance of acceptance and respect for each other, and how no matter what our beliefs are, how we can all show our sacrifices, and how we can show we can get along and provide so much value to our great province. After all, Alberta's diverse cultural landscape is what makes this province great and a wonderful place to live. Whether it be in Fort McMurray, where my home is, which has a huge community, or in Calgary or Edmonton, or all across the province. It's amazing how we all have such a great province and how we provide so much to the world. Thank you again to the organizers for planning this great event. To the speaker, I would say, have a wonderful evening. Eid Siyad. Khoda Hafiz. Thank you.
With you tonight on behalf of our PC party and our PC caucus to celebrate Eid-Al-Adha, the festival of sacrifice. And what an appropriate theme to talk about sacrifice. It's back in time, we celebrate Abraham's complete submission to God's will, to sacrifice what was most important in his life. And the one thing that I know has to be true is that when you are prepared to submit yourself that much, you're thinking not of yourself, but of others. And I think that really speaks to the deep meaning of this celebration today. So it's great to be here, Premier, Speaker, guests, special guests, sisters and brothers all, to celebrate the freedom that we have in Alberta, not just to think about it, but to flaunt that freedom, to the place where we make laws for this province, to invite people here to say people of the Muslim faith are welcome here. People of every faith are welcome here, together as one, to build a greater Alberta. thank you for being part of this history. Thank you for being part of making our province great. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, special guests, Honourable Premier. Assalamu alaikum, Eid Mubarak, even if it's a little bit late. Some of us are slower than others. The celebration is the main thing, and as a celebration of sacrifice has been said, we're also, many of us, wearing red poppies to also recognize the sacrifice of many people among us who paid the ultimate price and continue, if they have returned to Canada, to pay a huge price for our freedoms and for the great mosaic of Alberta that we enjoy today, with so many wonderful contributors in all faiths and all cultures. For the Muslim faithful who are unable to make the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, this festival is honored in various places and always with a large feast and a gathering of people which highlights Eid-Al-Adha, no matter where in the world it's celebrated. Eid-Al-Adha is also a time of reflection that gives family and friends the opportunity to gather, to eat together, to pray together. Traditionally, the young folks are gifted with new clothes during the festivities. Beyond the celebrations, however, at home or mosques across Canada, it's by coming together as a community, as we've done here tonight, that we teach our young people the importance of respect for others, regardless of diversity, and the power of valuing diversity itself. Canada and Alberta proudly boasts a wonderful spectrum of different cultures and religions and ethnic backgrounds across our growing populations. And at the end of the day, we're all bound by our common desire for a better, more peaceful, more just society, one of acceptance and respect for all. Tonight, by marking Eid-Al-Adha with one another, though it happened a month or so ago, we demonstrate that we are a country and a province that celebrates our differences as much as our similarities. Thank you once again for this special opportunity to be together. Eid Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Wanner, distinguished guests, Imam, it is my sincere pleasure to be here with you this evening to mark Eid-Al-Adha, the Muslim festival of sacrifice. During Eid-Al-Adha, the faithful reflect on their own sacrifices, and they especially give thanks for all the blessings they have received in return. Eid is celebrated in various ways around the world, with a large feast being the common thread and the high point of the festival, admittedly a month ago. I hope that all of you had the opportunity to gather with your friends and enjoy such a feast along with special prayers and the traditional new clothes and gifts for the young ones. Canada proudly boasts a mix of cultures and religions. We are a country that celebrates our differences as much as we celebrate what we have in common. Whatever your background, we are all bound by our common desire for a better world, our acceptance and respect for all. Today we are here to do just that. We celebrate Eid-Al-Adha along with our brothers and sisters, friends and family from the Muslim faith. Let us embrace all the wonderful traditions of this holy festival of sacrifice and spread good tidings and peace beyond tonight's celebration. Thank you all for this opportunity to be here. I am truly honored and humbled to be here to celebrate with you. Assalamu alaikum.